Hey everyone, Michael Short here. Come on, let's go outdoors. Well, it is a real pleasure to catch up with Megan Evans, who is the Executive Director of the Alberta Invasive Species Council. And Megan, I guess the big news to kick off this interview is the fact that you guys are holding a conference real quick. Down in Olds. Tell us a little bit about it.
Well, Michael, we are super excited to be hosting our first event in person since 2019. It's a 2-day conference at the college in Olds, and we have a jam-packed agenda. There's really something in there for everybody. We're going to be talking about wild boar, avian flu, white-nose syndrome in bats, invasive plant management, pesticides, aquatic invasive species biocontrol, and even drinking your way to invasive species solutions, people who have developed beer, craft beer to promote invasive species awareness. There's literally something for everybody. So registration closes on Tuesday, February 28th, very soon, but all the details are on our website, which is abinvasives.ca.
When you think about it, Megan, and you look at the list of invasive species that can pose a potential threat to our fish and wildlife habitat here in Alberta, it's a wonder you get any sleep at night. And I guess that it's a cheeky way to say, is there enough attention being paid to this issue? Because it seems to me that unless you're in the science, the biological world or the science world, the average person just kind of eyes glaze over when you talk about invasive species.
You know, it's so interesting that you raised that point, because invasive species are impacting every single person in this province, whether they're aware of it or not. We recently revised an economic assessment of invasive species in Alberta, and we're estimating invasive species are costing us $2.1 billion every year currently, and you know that's $480 a person in the province. So we are currently experiencing those impacts whether we know it or not. So the answer to your question is no. We need to do way more. We need to create more awareness and make sure people are aware that everyone has a role to play in preventing the introduction and spread of invasive species as well.
That's a staggering number. I know that the dollar amount if zebra mussels were to get into the irrigation system was something around 20 million per year just to stay on top of that. But when you look at the overall impact, now does that mean it's cost, loss of agriculture, loss of other natural resources? Is that what we're equating invasive species to? Yeah,
so those are definitely factors that play into it. Certainly, like agricultural losses and management costs are incorporated into that as well. But it's really hard to do those estimates properly too, because there's so many factors, some of which we don't even understand fully, right? So there's a lot of pieces at play there. But yeah, that's what the estimates are showing right now.
And of course, you folks, along with the provincial government, in terms of doing road stops for trailers and boats coming into Alberta, going and that type of thing before they hit our rivers and lakes, a big part of an awareness program there. But again, it seems to be very narrow, and rightly so. I mean, quagga mussels, that's how they move about, is on boats. But I don't know what else it's going to take to get people sort of paying attention about some of these other issues, like plants.
Yeah, and plants seem to be less interest to people, even though they're the ones we have the most of, and they're already here, and they're the ones causing the damage, right? But Mike, we're working really hard to raise that awareness piece. We have a new mascot. His name is Tank. He's a goldfish, and he's fabulous. He's making his official debut at the conference next week, so be sure to check that out. We're also trying to come up with new and novel ways of engaging people, and working on creating potentially a video game that we can pitch to teachers, so that we can start talking about the don't let it loose messaging and other invasive species messaging at a really early age, so that we can really drive home that messaging. So we need to get creative because we need to raise that awareness.
Is part of the problem the fact that some of these invasive plants look kind of nice? I mean, they're, and people kind of say, well, what's the problem? That's a pretty flower.
Yeah, people are not afraid of oxeye daisy or, some of these other pretty flowers, which is really unfortunate, because they pose a major risk to our biodiversity, and they cost us major economic impacts as well. And, what's always better are the native plants that were there in the first place, and the diversity of native plant species that would have been there in that natural ecosystem. ecosystem to begin with. So that's what we want to see, not a monoculture of one species, even if that one species is pretty.
You mentioned a squeal on pigs.
Yes.
That was an interesting program that I had a chance to go out and experience how they're trapping them. Is there any kind of an update in terms of how that program is moving along?
So we're just continuing on with our messaging to raise awareness in Alberta of the issue of wild boar at large. We want every Albertan to know that they're currently here. They're considered to be one of the most damaging invasive species in the world, and they pose major risks to things like our agricultural industry. We want people to squeal on pigs. So if you see signs or sightings, please let somebody know. Again, all the details about how you do that are on our website, which is abinvasives.ca.
All right, one more time, Megan, talk about the upcoming conference. Where do people go to get more information? And boy, I'll tell you, I really encourage folks to make that trip down to Olds. Get brought up to speed on information.
Yeah.
So where do they go to land to come out and visit you?
Absolutely. So our website, which is abinvasives.ca, all the details about the upcoming conference, absolutely great value. We want to see everybody there. Registration deadline is February 28th. The conference itself is March 7th and 8th, coming right up. And like I say, we really hope to see you there.
Well, you're, of course, here at the Alberta Fish and Game Association conference. I hope a lot of those members spend some time chatting with you and Paige about invasive species, and you guys get a chance to get your message out.
Yeah, we hope so too.
All right. Megan, thank you so much for this. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Michael.